everybody. David Shuster here on Take Action News along with Daniel Marans. So glad to have you on board our show. It is the end of June. It is getting hot out there and awfully hot in the nation's capitals. All the news we're going to be talking about today. What a great show we have ahead. Of course, always joining us, Pete Callahan is helping to run the board along with Rachel Calvert, who is new to the show. Rachel, welcome to you. Daniel Marans, congratulations on a great 2 weeks. The past few weeks when I was out, you did a fantastic job. How did it feel?
David, it was incredibly stressful, I have to say, but it was, as always, a pleasure, and I'm gonna have trouble a little bit. You might have to put me back in my place here.
All right, well, no worries. I can't imagine you getting such a big head, but you know, it's ice time. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and you know, I'm glad we've whet your appetite for more. Folks, we have a great show on board today, and for everybody who's listening to us on WPWC 1480 AM in Washington, a thank you to all of you listening to us over the radio, and of course, thanks to everybody who's watching us on YouTube, Take Action News TV. Be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel. That way, if you miss any part of the show, you can have the videos delivered free to your inbox at your convenience. I want to start, as we usually do, with some news in Washington, and we're going to start a little bit on the lighter side. There was something of a mystery this week at the National Zoo. Rusty the Red Panda, one of the few red pandas at the National Zoo, escaped. Late Sunday, early Monday, he was missing from his enclosure, and he was gone for about 24 hours before he was found in some bushes in nearby Adams Morgan. Now, this is probably the first time anything has essentially gone from west of Rock Creek Park to east of Rock Creek Park. At least accident. Well, you know, I shouldn't be knocking Adams Morgan. But anyway, the big mystery that was solved is the zoo was wondering, okay, how did Rusty get out? Because there were no footprints around the zoo enclosure, and of course, if animals have figured out a way to get out of their cages, that could be a problem. And they announced just the other day that what they think happened is that Rusty the Red Panda, who, I mean, this was as big an APB and all points bulletin as a search for Ed Snowden overseas. But in any case, they think that Rusty the Red Panda got a help from Mother Nature, and that because of all the rain in Washington, that weighed down some of the branches near his enclosure, enabling him to just reach the branches, climb up on them, climb out of his enclosure on the branches, go into some bamboo, and therefore escape the zoo. The zoo said they came to this conclusion by using, yes, surveillance video. Yes, the NSA would be proud of our Smithsonian National Zoo. They have the ability not to just to track all the human beings, but also all the animals. They apparently looked at some of the surveillance video, discovered again that there were no footprints. They were able to make sure and rule out the possibility of anybody snatching Rusty the Red Panda. So there was no theft. They don't have to worry about somebody going into the zoo and trying to steal the animals. Rusty the Red Panda has been returned to his enclosure, safe and sound, and he has not been hurt. Daniel Marans, your reaction?
I mean, David, I was shocked. I was gripped all day with anxiety about the fate of Rusty. I know that the red pandas are some of my favorite aspects of the Washington National Zoo. But, you know, it was interesting. Apparently, they saw him going around in circles in sort of a parking lot in Adams Morgan. Very common for people to have trouble finding parking in that part of D.C., but it's, you know, it's also, as you mentioned, why would someone come from west of Rock Creek to east of Rock Creek? Usually they're people who just aren't welcome east of Rock Creek where, you know, the masses live. And you know, I say, you know, keep what is on Wisconsin Avenue in Wisconsin Avenue, and that is really the way it should be. But that may be my how it should be segment this week. I'm not really sure, but.
Well, I've got a funny anecdote related to all this. So my dear brother, John Shuster, lives out in Oakland, California. He once worked at a zoo in Chicago. I believe during graduate school he was helping them with their marketing campaign. I'll never forget the day that he called and said, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and the zoo is on lockdown and people are being warned to be very careful. And I said, what's going on? And he said, well, the leopard had escaped from its cage. And so the leopard was apparently racing around the zoo, hopping from rooftop to rooftop on the buildings, scaring the hell out of everybody who was visiting that particular zoo. Eventually, of course, I think they were able to tranquilize the leopard and return that leopard to its cage. But can you imagine? I mean, it's one thing to see a red panda, a cute little panda walking around, but if all of a sudden you're face to face in Adams Morgan with a lion or a leopard or a tiger, then you'd really think that whatever medicinal issues you had in Adams Morgan had gotten out of control.
Yeah, that's that might be the jumbo slice on a Saturday night right there, David. But
We're going to pause in about 30 seconds and let our syndicated stations catch up with us. And again, great show. We're going to turn it a little more serious and talk about some of the amazing decisions this week from the Supreme Court, some good, some bad, and what you can do to influence outcomes in the next steps. We're going to talk about the Voting Rights Act, what's happening in states like Texas and South Carolina to take advantage of that in a negative fashion, in my view. And we'll also talk about the huge rulings this week on gay marriage. The Defense of Marriage Act was essentially gutted. Prop 8 was returned to California in a coma. We'll talk about all of that, the implications, also great guests, including Washington, D.C. Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. Take Action News. We pause in just a second now for our syndicated stations.